The mansion was quiet in that expensive, carefully controlled way. Not the kind of silence that feels peaceful, but the kind that feels maintained. Polished floors reflected the afternoon light like glass. Everything was in place. Everything was perfect. Almost too perfect that in the far hallway, a woman moved quietly, her footsteps soft, measured, and almost invisible. Her name was Elena Brooks. 40 years old, with dark skin and tied-back hair, she wore a simple uniform, the kind of woman people looked past without realizing it. She carried a cleaning cloth in one hand and a small bucket in the other. Her movements were precise, not rushed, not careless, but dignified. Before we continue the story, tell us where you are watching from and what time is it over there, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Now let's continue. At the edge of the living room, a little girl sat cross-legged on the carpet, humming softly as she drew in a worn-out notebook. "Elena," the child said without looking up. Elena paused. "Yes, baby? Do you think if I draw enough houses, we'll have one someday?" Elena smiled, but it didn't fully reach her eyes. "Maybe not just a house," she said gently. "Maybe something even better." The girl nodded, satisfied. She believed her, because children always do. Upstairs, heels clicked sharply against marble, fast, controlled, and impatient. Victoria Hale, CEO and billionaire, a woman who didn't wait, walked through her home like everything in it existed for her, and it did. Behind her, a small boy struggled to keep up. "Ethan, hurry up," she said without turning around. "I am," he muttered, slightly out of breath. He was 6, small, quiet, and observant, the kind of child who had learned early not to interrupt. Victoria checked her phone again. Emails, meetings, deadlines, always something more important. "Mom?" Ethan said. No response. "Mom, what is it, Ethan?" she snapped, still not looking. He hesitated. "Nothing." Downstairs, Elena paused mid-wipe. Something felt off. Not loud, not obvious, but wrong. She turned her head slightly and listened. Silence. Then a cough, soft and barely noticeable. She froze. Upstairs, another cough, this one sharper. Ethan stopped walking. His hand went to his throat. "Mom," Victoria sighed. "What now?" He didn't answer. His breathing changed, shallow and unsteady. "Ethan," she said, finally turning. That's when she saw his face. Panic, real panic. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. Downstairs, Elena dropped the cloth. She didn't think. She moved fast. Upstairs, Ethan staggered. Victoria rushed forward. "What's wrong?" "Ethan, talk to me." "Nothing. Just silence and fear." Her fear. "Help," she shouted, her voice cracking. "Somebody help." Elena appeared at the doorway, eyes sharp and focused. She didn't ask questions. She saw everything she needed to see. "Stand back," she said, firm, controlled, and commanding. "I've got this." Victoria froze for half a second. That half second mattered, because she wasn't used to being told what to do. But her son was choking, and pride means nothing when your child can't breathe. She stepped back. Elena dropped to her knees, quick and precise. She turned Ethan gently, checking. "Choking," she said quietly. "Come on, baby, breathe." She positioned him. Hands steady. First motion, nothing. Second, still nothing. Victoria covered her mouth. "No, no, please," her voice broke. "Please." Third. A pause. A second that felt like forever. Then something small shot out and hit the floor. "Candy." Ethan gasped. Air rushed back into his lungs, loud, fragile, and beautiful. He collapsed forward, crying, breathing, alive. No one moved. Not immediately. The world held its breath just a little longer. Then Victoria dropped to her knees and pulled him close. "Oh my God. Ethan, oh my baby," her voice trembled, not controlled anymore, not powerful, just human. Elena leaned back slightly, breathing slow and calm again, like nothing extraordinary had happened. But everything had. Victoria looked up at her, and for the first time, she saw her. Not a maid. Not background. A person. You saved him, she whispered. Elena shook her head softly. I just did what needed to be done. That night, the house felt different. Same walls, same furniture, but something had shifted. Victoria sat alone in her office, lights dim, the city glowing beyond the glass. Ethan slept nearby, peaceful and safe. She stared at her hands. They were still shaking, not from fear anymore, but from realization. All her life, she had built control, power, and precision. But today, none of it mattered, because when it mattered most, she couldn't save her own son. Someone else did. Someone she barely noticed. Morning came. Routine returned, but something was different. Elena arrived early, as always. Her daughter sat nearby, drawing again, quiet and content. Victoria walked in, slow, not rushed, not distracted. Different, Elena. She turned. Yes, ma'am? Victoria hesitated. That alone was new. I wanted to thank you. Elena nodded slightly. You're welcome. And, apologize. Elena paused. For what? Victoria took a breath. For not seeing you before. Silence, not empty, but heavy. I own this company, Victoria said. Elena nodded. I know. I want to offer you something better. Supervisor. Higher pay. Stability. A pause. Elena looked at her daughter, then back at Victoria. No, thank you. Victoria blinked, surprised. You don't want it? Elena smiled softly. I already have what I need. But you deserve more. More isn't always money, Elena said gently. She gestured toward her daughter. I get to be with her every day. I don't miss her growing up. That's worth more than any position. The words landed deep. Victoria felt it, because she knew she had everything except that. She knelt beside Ethan later that day. What do you want to do today? She asked softly. He looked surprised. Stay with you. Her eyes softened. Okay. She looked up at Elena. Something unspoken passed between them. Respect. Real respect. As Elena walked away, her daughter looked up. Mom? Yes, baby? Are we rich? Elena paused, then smiled. In the ways that matter, yes. Years later, they wouldn't remember the fear. They would remember the truth, that strength doesn't come from status, that kindness doesn't need permission, and that sometimes the people the world overlooks are the ones holding it together. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to this channel for more emotional stories about kindness and humanity.